Yeah, man, there's one thing to say as a people we're gonna self-destruct, but as a race, I know more and more it's seeming like, we headed in that direction. It's one thing to say, okay, hey, you know, uh, we'll survive. But of course, it's gonna be casualties. It's already starting to happen. I mean, it's been starting to happen. I mean, it's just, you see it more and more, depending on how conscious you are, and again, just seeing everything. And shoot, basically where I'm coming from is, it's like it's one thing to look at things from the political view and say, you know what, the donkey versus the elephant, the left against the right. Uh, oh man, black's supposed to stick together. Everybody's supposed to be blue, right? That's how some people feel. They feel like, hey, shoot, if we, whether you respect the game or not, if many of us or the majority of us in blue, then that means all y'all supposed to represent blue, right? And so, been a lot of talk, Trump, racist, Trump don't like blacks, Project 25, this, that, and the third. They want blacks back in slavery. They want to unalive the blacks. They don't want them to exist no more. You hear all of that type of talk, right? I mean, it's floating around out there. Depending on, you can live in the world but not be of it. But it's a lot of that type of talk going on out here. And of course, you got to talk. Oh, I'm independent. I don't need a man. Oh, I don't need a female. MGTOW. Basically the acronym men going their own way, MGTOW, MGTOW, and then of course, the feminist movement, is alive and well. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's just, I mean, that's just getting worse by the day, man. I mean, it's unbearable, man. Like masculine women, like, like that alone. Let me say that real quick, man. That alone, femininity is enough to take out the men and the women, regardless of your color. Feminism, like us missing feminism, because in this duality in which we live, masculinity, femininity, up, down, left, right, good, bad, right, wrong, heads to tails, do or die, the yin to the yang, you know what I mean? Positive, negative, and the list go on, you know what I mean? But when it comes to that duality, I mean, to lack femininity and just straight like masculine men or masculine women, nah, we need femininity. But then it's like some would argue and say, the tables have turned, meaning a lot of the women, are going masculine, and then a lot of the men are becoming feminine. Some would make that argument, but the truth of the matter and the nature of it is men are masculine and women are feminine, But yeah, so yeah, we taking a hit, man. We taking a beam, man. So, when I say self-destruction, I mean, I heard Curtis Mayfield say back when I was young, I heard him say, there's a hell below, we all gonna go. And I kind of had an idea what he was talking about, but then it's like, I get what he's saying. It makes sense. I mean, if there's a hell below, we all gonna go, because it's like we all having this human experience, and we can only do the best we know how with what we have. So I mean, if you got hundreds and hundreds of years worth of lying and confusion, then it's almost like the blind leading the blind. So, quite inevitably, I can't even say it, and inevitably, you have to then, again, tap into your inner self, the kingdom of heaven, and the God-like consciousness, you know what I mean, when it comes to your intuition, you know what I mean, your higher self, you have to tap in and seek the Most High God, within, and find the kingdom of heaven, within, and so you know this whole individuality, you know what I mean. It's like every man for himself, and truth of the matter is, it's like, if you had the key to heaven and you knew the way, The only thing you can do is try to teach and tell a person better and show them the way, through your actions, not just verbal speech, not just that alone, but through your actions, and in hopes that they'll find their way. But it's not like something you can do for them. You know what I mean? And many people talk about Yahshua, who many of you know as Jesus, and they tell the story about how he spread the word and how he was basically, trying to get people to find the kingdom of heaven within. And again, you'll come to find out it's not something that an individual can do for you, but you have to tap in yourself. God is spirit, therefore you worship in spirit. Book of John, chapter 4, verse 24. And so also I want to say in the book of Matthews, is that chapter 17? But yeah, the kingdom of heaven is found within, and it's very rare. I'm this rusty with my scriptures, you know. So just vibing out this AM, man. Like I say, sure, got a hour and a half, couple more hours, and I'll be off. But nah, man, I was just sitting back thinking about, again, like the boat that we in as a people, and then especially as a race. It's like, a lot of us, we tend to talk about, racism. Whites don't like us. They don't want us to be on this planet. All other ethnicities don't like us, and a lot of people really feel that way, even though it's not that way. I mean, you got good people on every side, and you got bad people on every side. And you would think, being that living in the most powerful nation at the time, which is the United States of America, in 2026 as of now, even 20, 30 years ago, you would think people, of the black race would say, you know what, this is what we're dealing with. Let's bind together. This is what we have to do. We're going to patronize our own businesses. We're going to build our own businesses. We're going to live off the land. We're going to continue to, and, and it's not that way. Like I say, it's like, every man for himself, hey, I'm doing well. I got mine, you get yours, and that's where we are. And so, again, when you look at the divide of the family, and the structure of the homes of the black family, it's like more and more, I don't hear women saying, hey, look, we got to get away from being masculine and we got to tap into our femininity. We got to support and be there for our men the best we know how, and we got to choose wisely. We got to not minimize, but we got to stop all of this manipulating, gaslighting and finessing, because a lot of women, they don't weaponize their emotions, and they don't weaponize that garden. Some say box, some say but the vajayjay, and they don't weaponize the whenever they can find a guy who don't know his value, then they know with that they can string him along and they can be in control, and again manipulate, gaslight, and finesse a dude, by controlling him with what they have. That's their money maker. If nothing else, if I'm broken, I don't have nothing else, I can always, that's my go-to, to get a few dollars or to get my way, and so a lot of women lead with that, and their emotions as well. But like I say, in the words of Curtis Mayfield, if there's a hell below, we all gonna go, man, and that's not to be negative. It's just, let me clear that up, because like I say, I'm not gonna leave off on that note, and but what I mean is, you can't be the doggone pot calling the kettle black. You know what I mean? As we have this experience, like I say, we have to tap in, and are we all on one accord as of now? Nah, but I'm willing to bet you, if the world was going against us like we say that they are, and they don't like us, and they try to usher in the old school way of slavery, that'll be enough to say, you know what, we need each other. This is what we up against, and then we can now identify the real enemy slash opposing forces that say, you know what, hey, we got to do what we have to do. All right, now we got to move our pride aside, and women, they go and put down that your fake wee, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, because like I say, that I mean, a lot of people don't break it down or see that far, but if it came down to a purge or things get real serious, women gonna run back because they playing both sides of the fence, right? And we can't get our way with y'all. We'll run the massa, and then we'll use that to our advantage. And that's what a lot of them do. We'll run to dog on the alphabet boys. We'll run the massa. Whoever in power, whoever gonna allow us to have our way and look out for us, they opportunists, right? If you're gonna give me food stamp Section 8 and I don't need him, then I don't need him. Then I'm gonna piss on him, step on him. I'm gonna pop my ish, and then that's just what it is, So they like opportunists, you know what I mean? And not all females, but this day and age in which I'm living, a lot of millennials and a lot of this new generation, they are. They really are, And so, like I say, it ain't nothing for them to say, yeah, I call you a probation officer, your parole officer. I call call the oppressor on you, you know what I mean? And they don't care. They just want their way, you know what I mean? A lot of them are unalive themselves trying to unalive you, just because they angry, you know what I mean? Hell has no fear like a woman scorned, and so they back to my point, they'll play both sides. I mean, after all, look who the snake came to in the garden, real story or not. Look who the snake came to, you know what I'm saying? And so again, man, a lot of times when women, can't lead with that, they don't know what to do. They don't know they don't know what to do. They haven't been taught how to be wives. They haven't been taught femininity, and they're getting away from their original self, and they're lost, So like I was saying, man, again, when they come down to a purge or come down to something serious such as, okay, we're gonna try to usher back in slavery, or we're gonna try to do the black race wrong, women gonna know to go back to that place again. You know what I'm saying? And when I say go back to that place again, now they know how to be soft. Now they know how to respect their men. Before they was talking junk, they was popping their ish, right? But then when they need something, you just give you a quick example. You can have neighbors, right, who haven't said nothing to you for like years. You know what I'm saying? A year or two, never asked you for nothing, never said nothing to you. Probably gave you the side eye, or probably just gave off that masculine energy that they walk around with, right? Attitude and all of that, right? Especially Western world women, not just the blacks, but just women, right? Western world mainly, right? Let the power go out. Let something crazy be happening with somebody running like Jason or Freddy running around the neighborhood. Now they know, hey, such and such. Now they know how to talk soft. They know how to respect the man, because now they want that man to put his life on the line for protection. Whether it's an uncle, son, brother, neighbor, father, grandfather, all they know is they seeking for protection. And so again, they opportunists, man, but like I say, it's definitely a war going on. When we say spiritual warfare, that's just, not just, spirit and soul, but just again, it's manifesting through man and woman, so it ain't just no, like countries, you know what I mean? It's man and woman, so like that's been going on for like decades now, and so it's gonna come to a point where, like real men are learning and knowing their value, and they saying, you know what, you're not gonna control me with your box, you're not gonna control me with your JJ, you ain't got no power over me, but nah, tap in, like tap in, like let me get to know you on a spiritual level, you know what I mean, and get to know you, and create a bond, and most women, like, they don't know how to deal. But then, like I said, you got some real women out there now who wants to connect with men on that level, and you got a lot of boys out here who's just been raised by their mothers and was never officially taught how to be a man, you know what I'm saying? And lack male mentorship and all of that. So vice versa, you know. So it's like confusion going on out here, you know what I mean? You know, because the truth of the matter is there are a lot of feminine men out here, then there's a lot of masculine women, you know? And so it's like the tables are turned, you know? But like I say, this is giving rise to the real on both sides, men and women. Like it's gonna be a lot of the real ones who you looked over that are real and official. That's like, you know, hey, boom, it's time for us to step up. You know what I mean? Boom. And so, again, just open your eyes, pay attention, and look around. You know, I've had women, you know, in my family, even you know neighbors, you know, and women that tell me like over the years, like, I can't deal with a guy like you. I'm sure you can't because you're not on that level. You're just not on that level. You're not on that level. You know, to think that I'm a beta or to think that you can manipulate me and gaslight and finesse. I don't. I'm just one of the ones who don't go for it. I don't go for it. So therefore, you don't have that power, and you won't be able to date a man like me. And I've been like I get it. I get it. You know, but a lot of times, you know, you give a dog enough rope, he or she'll hang himself. You know what I'm saying? If you let a person talk long enough, just pay attention. The answers are right there. They tell on themselves. You know what I mean? And so, again, this video is just about self-destruction, man, and like, you know, what the world is coming to. So it ain't no need to panic. You know what I mean? None of us gonna make it out alive. But at the end of the day, while you have your human experience, strengthen your spirit, pay close attention, be aware, stand steadfast, protect your mind. Again, applied knowledge is power. And also, last but not least, but be vigilant, you know. But these are a lot of the things that we're dealing with and we're facing. And like I say, it's happening in our homes. It started in our homes. It expanded in the community. And now it's like wild spread, you know, us as a people, you know what I mean? And so, you know, if you're looking at it from a human standpoint, if you're looking at it from just solely your as a race, you know, self-destruction, man. With self-destruction, you know, it's time to hit that reset button, you know what I mean? And just remember, you know, there's going to be a lot of casualties. Everybody not going to get it. Everybody not going to make it. It's what it is. And it's happening right now.